Welcome everybody. We are here live under the mask radio. This is your host Tech here, of course, with our great correspondent editor to my left. Could be your right, could be up, could be down, whatever device you're looking at, whatever
Up,
direction.
up,
My
down,
man,
down, left, right,
uh,
left,
uh,
right.
exactly. My man XO, who's not wearing a mask. You see his
Nope.
face with his
Yep.
glasses.
Yep.
Joining you with another exclusive interview.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me, on Skype here on the date Tuesday, July the 25th, 2023. The time is 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't matter what time it is, as long as you're watching us, no matter your time zone or where you at, then you're watching us. That is good. We'll tell you about this handsome man that got the same gray hair he had since the 80s and the 90s. And we in the
So wow.
2020s, he still got that gray hair. And the reason, and the reason why we may be talking a lot louder, myself, my voice isn't all together, XO, is because our guest did say he has a hearing problem. So we're
Yeah.
talking loud as we can. And we're from Baltimore, so being
That's
straight
natural.
could, that's natural for us to be
It's
loud.
natural.
And
Yep.
I don't want to cuss because we done research on our guest, and he's a man of faith under the cloth, and I do not want him to get
Amen.
mad and
Gotta respect that.
knock us out with that joystick he probably has or that
Man,
cane.
I'm sure you still
Yes.
got one.
So very quickly, Under the Mat Radio here, live. Follow us on Twitter at TECH underscore UTMR. Follow XO on Twitter at
Exoskeleton. EXO skeleton. All together, all one word. And if you cannot spell that, Google it.
Please Google it. We all know what Google is. Google wasn't
Yep.
around when our guest was alive. He still is alive, but when he was starting out
Yo.
for being on TV, Google wasn't alive. Google wasn't alive when we were kids either. Follow us on YouTube, Under the Mat Radio. Follow us on IG, as the kids say, on Instagram for the older folks.
And
Follow
thread.
us all over email and what have you. If you try to send us a telegram, then that's outdated and you're very, very old and you need to get up with the times. Because nobody sends telegrams no more, but these still facts. Do gotta give a quick
Thanks.
shout out to our brother. Got a close friend of mine, me and my wife, close friend of ours. We're definitely praying for him down in Lawson, praying for his safe recovery. All over the news, been missing. This guy is texting his brother Quentin that he definitely is living vicariously through us, and the fact that he's a fan of yours, Malibu, and the
Oh,
fact that I'm interviewing you definitely is giving him good energy. So shout
cool,
out to him.
man.
But
Well, you got the right track, man. The prayer's got to go up before the healing comes down. So that's cool, brother.
yes,
Amen.
I appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Amen.
All
Yeah.
right, we're here. You heard me. You know who I am, Tech. You know how I look, black man. You know the other black man, Exo. But it's another man on here that's not black. He's white. His hair still look good from 1987,
Woo.
1990. You saw him on TV, American Gladiators. This man danced with Peg Bundy and Married with Children. This man was Mortaro
And Mortal
in Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat Part 2. This man also knows Sting. We do our research. Great WWE Hall of Famer, WWE wrestler. This man has been all over. He was on martial law. He was on Walker, Texas Ranger with Chuck Norris. He's in every single
And
thing. Even
he's a great graphic artist.
he is a
I
great
say.
graphic. He is. He
Mm.
has a great daughter who isn't too happy with how they treated him on the TV show. Still
Yeah.
friends, and is very close friends with the great Storm. Shout out to Storm. We loved her, and we saw that embrace. Shout out to Storm. This is none
Amen,
other
man.
than the man himself. He's a man of faith. This man has
Yes.
done. He's been in South Africa for 8 weeks doing a retreat. This man
Wow.
Nice.
no men left
Cool.
behind ministries. This man, as the fans keep asking, why the hell does he look like Dog the Bounty Hunter? But he is not. We're bringing people back home. American Gladiator. You know him as Malibu, but his name is
Malibu.
Deron McBee. Welcome, brother, to Under the Mat Radio.
Hey, man. So glad to be here, man. What a great intro, you guys. Thank you so much.
Welcome. You're welcome,
Thank you,
man.
brother. Thank you, brother. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your time. We feel honored to have you on the show. As we talked earlier on the phone, and you text me, and the first thing you said is, "Look, brother, I don't know about this Skype. I haven't done a podcast in a while, so we're glad to bring you back into the fold."
Oh, well, I'm glad you guys brought me back. Thank you so much.
No problem. Let's talk about this hair, man. Talk about
Okay.
this hair. Your hair still look good since the '70s, the '80s, the '90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and the 2020s. How you
Right.
keep up with that gray hair, man? Tell us the secret.
Oh, you mean how it all started and stuff?
Yes, how I started, how you still got it going. You're not going bald. It's still
Yeah.
flowing like it did on TV.
I think, well, my first is funny because I used to be an LA County sheriff. I don't know if you guys got that part in there, but back in the day, I was a cop, and I wasn't really digging that lifestyle. It was a little bit too much for me. I mean, I didn't like a lot of things were happening with the department, and I saw too many negative things going on in the street. So it was just not for my personality. And being a man of faith, I just kind of started to pray and kind of want to do something that really led me in the direction where I could impact more people with my faith. So I just felt like God led me to get into acting, and then that started. Well, it actually started in 2005 when I joined this crazy little dance group called the Men of Chippendales, and so I started that way, and from then kind of proceeded on to getting into the Conan show at Universal Studios, which is really really cool. And then right after that, I booked the American Gladiators, and from then on, man, it was off to the races. We were doing all kinds of cool stuff.
It's awesome, man. Appreciate you giving us the info. I'm gonna turn it over to XO because I know XO has some questions for you. Then I'll let him turn it back to me. Go ahead, XO.
All right, fire away.
So, yes, sir. So, earlier I did say that you was a excellent graphic artist, and I'm a graphic artist myself. And when I did my research into history and stuff, I'm like, yo, this guy's actually dope. Like, I like his work, and I can see where the influence of American Gladiator had came in, and all that macho era and stuff like that. Is, can you give us a bit of background or history as far as in like your art? Like, how did it start? How you get started with it? And
Yeah,
are you still doing it now?
because not a lot of people ask me about my art. So I've always been a comic book nerd from the time I was 12 years old. I was into Spider-Man, Hulk, Superman, Batman, all that stuff. I mean, I had chests full of all kind of comic books and stuff. So I started drawing when I got into high school, and I always wanted to do artwork that was not like everybody else's. You know what I mean? I wanted to do stuff that was super colorful with vibrant colors and all fantasy art. I mean, if you look at most of my artwork, it's all, super fantasy stuff. I do mermaids. I do, Conan stuff with dragons, all kinds of crazy things like that. And then I've done a lot of superhero stuff as well. I did a classic one of my favorite pieces of Muhammad Ali. And that fight, remember that knockout with Sonny Liston back in the 60s?
Yeah.
And it's an iconic pose. I drew that. And so that just kind of inspired me to keep going. But I've loved doing art. It's always been like really cathartic for me in the sense that it's really a good healing type of a mechanism for me, and I can give back to people, and people seem to enjoy it.
It's real good. I could tell that me being an artist myself, and because you had so much going on with American Gladiators, Mortal Kombat, acting and stuff like that. I know the art, that's something like kind of sort of fell to the wayside. Like like you said, no, a lot of people know that about you, and I'm
Right.
like, and I'm like, that's another layer that should be explored more because, like I said, you're good at it. You're great at it, actually.
Well, thank you. Thank you. No, I really, really appreciate that. And you're absolutely right. I mean, the time of the 90s, like you were saying earlier, was a time of machismo. You had Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme. All those guys were tearing it up in the box office. It was all about muscles and mayhem, like the Gladiators video that's out right now, the documentary. Right. And so to me, it came in a perfect timing. And so actually, when I decided to become an actor, I thought, okay, how can I turn myself into an actor, but an actor that'll work a lot. I don't want to look like the generic, typical guy. So that's when I grew my hair long. I started hitting the gym, pumping weights really, really hard, getting tan. And that's how the whole Malibu persona was born back in that whole, 90s beach kind of whole flowing thing that was like super cool back in the 90s and 2000s. So that's where all that started coming from. So you're absolutely right, man. It was all born from that 90s macho kind of stuff.
Yeah, I could tell. Cause like you said with the Rambo and the Terminator stuff like that, like in that time frame, and it's crazy how. So I know me and my brothers, we was into all that stuff too, and our ritual was we would look at like either WCW and then American Gladiators would come on. We would not move because we already knew that was coming on next.
Right.
And
4 o'clock.
So
4 o'clock p.m. Yep.
Yep. And you know it, and we like, all right. And as soon as it goes off, we start imitating everything. Have little tennis balls, tossing them at each other, right? Rooms up with pillows and stuff, and doing a joust.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that was the good time. So I know we just been teased with the new Mortal Kombat 1, and they just talked about how Jean-Claude Van Damme is going to be a skin for Johnny Cage. There has been rumors that Mortaro is going to be part of the DLC pack.
Right.
Would you be willing, like, if they was to walk up to you like, hey, we would like your skin for this, we would like your likeness, would you be up for it?
Oh, of course. I mean, anytime you get someone asking you for your likeness, that's super flattering, and an opportunity to work is one of the greatest gifts of God that I could possibly get. So you bet, man, I'd be totally stoked to do it. And what's amazing about the whole Mortal Kombat thing, just like the American Gladiators, it's such an iconic brand. Mortal Kombat and the American Gladiators are such iconic brands. Like, everybody knows Mortal Kombat and everybody knows American Gladiators. And so to be able to be a part of both of those amazing brands is an incredible gift, and I had to be true. I mean, I had to really do some research for this Mortaro character because, I knew these fans are like, they're hardcore. And so if you don't get their character right, they're playing the game, they're going to come after you with some very vicious, things that they're going to say.
Yeah.
Right? And so I did a little research and realized this dude was pretty bad to the bone, man. He was tough to beat in the game. And so I just decided I want to make him like, obviously he's a centaur. So I really thought, let's make him kind of like a lion character. You know how lions are always pacing back and forth inside their cage. You don't know what they're thinking, and just always, that viciousness of a lion that can be tamed for 1 second and then tear you off in the next. So that's kind of how that came about for the whole Mortaro situation. But the American Gladiators was really kind of different because originally they wanted to call me Domino, like pizza. And I remember I went in for the interview, like we're talking now, and you guys are like the directors, and they're saying, yeah, we want you to be Domino. And I'm going, bro. And I started the whole, beach thing. I said, bro, my name ain't Domino. I don't deliver pizzas. My name is Malibu, bro. Like that.
Nice.
So totally went crazy. They loved it. And that's how the whole Malibu thing came to be.
Man. Now, here's the thing, is you said before on previous accounts, I know you shout out to Good Brother Podcasting, Hannibal. You did his show 3 years ago, who used it on our show, and other things. You've never touched a surfboard, ever, by your account. And you would never know it. In our foundation is pro wrestling. We cover pro wrestling and MMA, what have you. The fact that as kids, us watching you, kids, teenagers, what have you,
right?
Their Malibu persona A was so cool, and surfing and rad and all of that. But you said I never touched a surfboard. That is totally against who I am. It's totally opposite to who I really am. What was your inspiration, and who did you think about? What did you think about to grab onto that character to convey that so realistically, and that wasn't even you?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. That's a great question. Did you guys ever see a movie called Fast Times at Ridgemont High? You got to watch it if you never saw it. But there's a character called Spicoli on there, and he was a surfer. And he was the total burnout guy. And Sean Penn played the character. And that was in a time where people were called valley dudes and valley girls. And they had that, hey, what's up? Totally. And they would use all that kind of funny language. And so I saw that. I go, man, I got to parody this guy. I got to totally parody that whole thing. And when you see a guy like my size with muscles doing that, it's going to be hilarious. So I wanted Malibu to be the kind of guy that everybody just liked being around, whether I win, whether I lose on the game. He's out there having fun, having a good time, and loving life. That's the whole thing. And it was that whole beachy persona. What's the beach? Laid back, mellow, have a cruise, hang out with the babes, that whole kind of thing. So that was the whole persona that I was going for when I created Malibu.
With that persona, which you did an amazing job at.
Thank you.
You never once frowned. We never saw you frown. We never once saw you upset. and they go into the elephant in the room, which we have to cover. We're gonna get this out the way. It's not gonna be a stereotypical interview. The name Brian McHutchman. I know you know that name. Anybody
Yes.
listening to this or watching that don't know, this is the man who notoriously you seen on ESPN, 30 for 30, Netflix, that knocked our brother Malibu off
Oh yeah.
the
Yeah.
platform. And you'll tell us the injuries you got, but I remember seeing it as a kid. And you got knocked off. You still smiled, and no one knew you had anything you had. First thing you did was smile. Okay, okay. Would no one have known the injuries that you sustained, and you still had a
Right.
smile on your face? Is that really who you are in general? Where you always try to stay positive, or was there something you had to dig down deep and not the real, like Deron come out as opposed to Malibu
Right.
on
Well,
TV?
it's like Malibu is just a larger version extension of myself. Like a lot of pro wrestlers, a lot of that's just a larger version of who those guys really are. A lot of times, but Malibu is just how I am. We're talking about. I'm a man of faith. I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, and I want to be the kind of guy that portrays a positive outlook. I represent that faith, but I love people of all kinds of faith. I mean, I think we need to be accepting of everybody, of course, and love everybody. But to me, the thing was like when I took that hit, you're right. People didn't realize at that moment that I had my head was split wide open. I needed to go to get plastic surgery by a plastic surgeon, and he did, I think, 14 stitches on the inside and 14 stitches on the outside. But I had also had such a bad concussion from when my left knee came over and hit me in the head that the emergency room doctor just said, I'm not letting you go back. It's too dangerous. And if you go back, you're probably either going to be in a wheelchair if you get hit like that again, or you could die. He goes, this is no joke, Deron. And I said, Doc, you don't understand. I was like begging this guy, this is my opportunity to get back on TV and opportunity to shine. And so finally, after he said no 4 times, I said, Doc, imagine this. I said, imagine you go through med school for 8 years and you go in and you're a registered doctor and you start getting ready to do your very first surgery. And all of a sudden someone says, you can't do surgery anymore. I said, what would you do? How would you feel? I said, that's what you're doing to me if you don't let me go back out there. And so reluctantly, he said, okay, I'm going to let you go back, but just know this. It's not on me if you end up in a wheelchair or die from this. So it was a very real thing for me, that injury I took. And it was scary. I mean, honestly, every time I got back up there and I was, competing, I knew that, my body was in the balance. My life was in the balance. But at the same time, it's like, all right, I can't let everybody know that. I can't let the fans know that I'm freaking out or I'm angry. Just go back, be positive, have a great time, and the fans will have a great time. And so that's what it was all about for me.
Sound like you was walking by faith.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I caught that early. I'm like, yeah, I know what that is. Yep, I know the signs. That's how you do it.
That's it. 100%, man. Right on the boom, nose.
Sir.
Does it make you feel a type of way that the default fan or the common fan or even someone that may not ever watch the show, which is hard to believe, no Malibu, oh, he got knocked off the platform and fell.
Yeah.
It's so much more to you, brother. We'll get to you. Then as you get knocked off the platform and as you said, you broke both your thumbs and your concussion, which was the most scariest part, and your bicep was torn.
Yeah.
Does that make you feel bad that dag I'm a meme or a gif or a gif of I got knocked off this platform, but it's so much to you?
Yeah, but can I share something with you about that? To me, that turned out to be the biggest blessing in my life because who's everybody talking about? They're talking about Malibu getting creamed on top of that thing. So to me, God uses everything for the good, the way I looked at it. So that thing just kind of made me infamous, and the next thing you know, everybody's talking about it, right? So it was like the best thing that could have happened to me. You know what I'm saying? I turn up at anything that can be a negative. I try and turn around and make a positive out of it. So
a win's a win.
I'm like digging it.
That's
a
great.
win's a win, baby. A win is a win.
That's a great way to look at that. We have a question here from shout out to Saltine who cannot about who couldn't make it today because he was in some pain. He did have a question that said, with you being who you are and how you look, everyone is saying you look like Dog the Bounty Hunter, which fans has been hitting us up about. which you can get to. Marvel has a new movie, Kraven, which we know is one of
Oh
Spider-Man's
man,
arch
wow.
nemesis. So Saltine, one of our staff members sent me a text and said, "Ask Malibu,
Well, he wanted to be
how do you
crazy.
feel about being Kraven if they asked you of being in that Marvel movie? Because you do look like Kraven. The comic books, your comic book nerd. I had the action figure. I still got one downstairs. The little
Like if be
6-inch joints.
be Craven's father.
Craven's dad, Danny Craven.
Be Craven's grandpa.
Yeah,
But you know what? I saw the trailer for that, and it's awesome. It looks great, man. It looks exactly the kind of role that I would love to play on any movie. I mean, it looks really sweet.
Yes. And here go another question. Your favorite superhero movie, since you like Batman and Superman and everyone else, your favorite.
You know, oh man, you put me on a spot. I think it's got to be Superman, but probably Michael Keaton's Batman was my favorite, just because it was so much grit. He kind of started it all, so I really, really liked what he did with that character. But I love all the superhero movies.
So my lady is right across from me, and she will be happy to hear this. Malibu's favorite Batman is Michael Keaton.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's the only one. It's the only one. My wife said the same thing.
Yeah. What's who's his favorite Superman?
Yeah, he killed it, man. I mean, he was amazing.
Who was your favorite Superman?
Superman? Got to be Christopher Reeve, man. I mean,
yes, sir.
He encompasses that. He everything about him. Not only the height, the face, and the innocence and the power. He had everything.
Yeah, he definitely did.
Can you imagine him in a Superman movie today? What that would be like? It'd be incredible.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. He worked out for that role, boy. That was all him.
Yeah, he was skinny, really thin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not big at all. Yeah. So just to make sure the fans know, Malibu said the only Batman that matters is Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
The only Superman that matters is Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
So all the Ben Affleck
fans. So I'll be honest with you, I did 2 Batman movies. I did one Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, and
definitely
did. The worst Batman was George Clooney by far. I'm sorry, and I think he's a nice man, but he was like he was in there to phone that whole Batman thing, and he didn't care. But you know, Val Kilmer did a pretty decent job of being Batman.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, he did. He made the director crazy. I mean, he was on the set. He was coming in late, and him and the director did not get along very well.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, was it the nipples, Malibu? Was it the nipples again, like with Clooney? You know, the bad nipples and the bad butt and all of that. We never seen any of that. Was it that? Everybody see it. They did zoom in shot like top 7.
Oh my God!
George, God bless George. Joe Schumacher. He put me in 5 of his movies, but how do I say this? He was very flamboyant. Let's just put it that way. And so you know what I mean. So he started putting the nipples on. I was like, come on. I mean, that's just come on. And then the fat butt shot, rubber butt shot. I mean. Yeah, that looked a little too bizarre for me. Let's just put it that way.
Well, we love Joe Schumacher. Rest in peace. One of my favorite movies I still have on VHS, which kids call, it was called video cassette back in our day, but now they call it VHS or VCR, whatever the hell they call it now. Falling Down with Michael Douglas. One of my all-time favorite movies. Joe Schumacher actually directed it, which I never do. And I don't know if you've seen it, XO, but great movie. Check it out. You being in Batman movies, you said, hey, Clooney wasn't good. Val Kilmer did a good part. We all know him as Doc Holliday and Tombstone. There's nothing he can do. I'll be your Huckleberry. Everyone knows that.
I'm your Huckleberry. Just say when.
We know that. We know that.
Yeah. He's an amazing actor, guys. I mean, Val Kilmer, amazing actor. Incredible actor. No doubt about it. But yeah, Joe Schumacher did that movie Lost Boys, which was incredible.
Oh, love Lost
Boys. I didn't know that. Heck yeah, that's my joint right there.
Yeah.
Michael.
Love Lost Boys. Wow.
Michael. Yeah, the name Michael. He said Michael like 300 times. Michael. Come here, Michael.
I feel sorry for anybody named Michael like that. He's really hard for y'all.
What was that creepy song that they played during the carnival?
That's my joint. Cry to your mother. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's my joint. I love that song.
That was great movie. Fun movie.
Every
And
time I
you
go,
guys know that Billy Wirth, who was in the Lost Boys, was in the first episode of American Gladiators with me.
Oh,
So we
wow.
played against one of the Lost Boys.
wow.
Wow.
Yeah,
Look
yeah,
at
yeah.
how
Check it out. One of the first couple episodes, Billy Wirth, he had really long hair, and we beat the poop out of him, man. It was pretty
Wow. Jesus.
got him back. Now,
bad.
now with the American Gladiators, what game we know about the famous games, the Saw, the Human Cannonball,
Right.
Joust, Powerball, whole bunch of others, Atmosphere, so many others. What game did you not like that you was like, oh my gosh, why'd I have to do this? That you just
Oh, wow.
it's not a favorite of yours.
It's pretty obvious. The cannonball was one. None of us like doing the
No one
cannonball.
like Cannonball.
No one like
I
Cannonball.
actually,
Nobody.
actually stayed on there about 3 or 4 times. There were 3 or 4 times I did not get kicked off, which is a miracle. But you just got to get lucky if a guy's going the wrong direction. If he hits you square on, you're done. But the worst one was the Conquering, the wrestling ring. I didn't win one of those. I was terrible. And
Wow.
I could have used help from Nitro or Laser or any of those guys who knew how to wrestle. I had no idea how to wrestle. And I've got long legs, so these guys just pushed me out like nothing. Really frustrating. So
Yeah.
that was by far the one I hated the most.
In Conquer, that was the one with the little dash where he ran and he had to tackle you with the circle.
Yep,
Yeah.
Exactly.
wrestling ring kind of deal. Yeah, that one I hated it.
Now, what was your thoughts on the I don't know if they did this after you left after season 1. Remember they elevated it to like a higher platform. What was your thoughts on that? Did you feel that was a little more dangerous? Because I think was it Ice or one of the girls had injured their was it Storm? One of the girls injured their knee.
Yeah, Sonny, it's really a shame. I think it was her ankle, could have been her knee. You could be right. So she was a professional bicyclist. I mean, she was an amazing athlete. She was at least 6'2", tall, beautiful gal. And they originally had like a brazier. It would be like the circle was, like you said, raised up off the ground by about 3-4 inches. And she got pushed back and it just literally folded on top of her own ankle or her knee. I'm not sure which one it was, but snapped it and hurt it so bad that she couldn't compete again. So she was done before the season hardly ever even started. It was really a shame. And then they realized, this is a really stupid idea by raising the lip of this thing. Let's just take it down and leave it just a round circle on the floor. So they learned the hard way with a couple of these games, and that's why they took the cannonball out of there. And that's why they took the joust. If you remember the season, the joust was on a plank. And you guys would be fighting across the plank, and there'd be like a drawbridge, and it would fall. Guys would fall in between it. So they took that away because guys were getting hurt right and left also.
It was like that stage at Mortal Kombat. Was that the pit? Remember they had that little thing, the uppercut pole, just like that. That's how it used to be for a foul. Go ahead, XO.
So what was one of the main highlights with being in American Gladiator? Like, I know they had, I'm pretty sure I kind of feel like they had a game for Nintendo. They was selling in like KB Toy Store, telling my age. Action figures, cartoons, you named it. What was one of the highlights where you just sat back like, wow, this is good, this is dope?
I'll tell you, it's really hands down. It was like one of the greatest times I can tell you. We were at Madison Square Garden doing the live tour, and I'm on the floor of Madison Square Garden looking up at 22,000 people. It was sold out, and it was talk about being just awestruck. It was incredible just to look at the fans, that many people showing up, and you realize just how popular you are. But what happened after that was really cool. We had a time when we'd sign autographs, and this one little boy came up to me. He had a baseball cap on. He says, "Malibu, you're just my favorite. He goes, "Will you sign my baseball cap for me?" I go, "Yeah, sure, buddy. I'll sign your cap." I sign it for him, and he's got this gold necklace on. It's got a cross on it. He says, "Malibu, will you please have this cross? I want to give it to you as my cross, and you're my hero." And I'm going, "Buddy, I can't take your cross from you." And he said, "My mom says it's fine." And I look over, see his mom. She goes, "Yeah, take it." So I take this kid's gold cross, and I'm like, "Wow, thank you." He goes away, and not 5 minutes later, another little boy comes up to me. He's got a baseball cap on. And he says, "Malibu, you're my favorite. You're my hero. Will you please sign my cap?" I go, "Sure, buddy." He takes his cap off, and he's completely bald. He's chalky gray, so you can tell. He goes, "Yeah, I've got brain cancer, and I wanted to come here this last time to see you guys and see you especially because you're my hero, Malibu." And so I went, this is a God moment. I took that cross off, and I gave it to that kid, and I said, you know what? You're my hero, buddy. Thank you for coming here. I love you. I signed his cap, and he went away. And I mean, that was, to me, that was the greatest moment of my American Gladiator career, for sure.
Wow. That was man, that was that was powerful.
Yeah.
That was real
Yeah,
powerful.
incredible, man. I mean, I still get goosebumps when I talk about it.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here like, oh, that's wow.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
wow. Now here's an interesting question. Now that we're kind of sort of talking religion, during your time in American Gladiator, even in Mortal Kombat, was you part of a church family? And if so, what was that reaction when they seen you like on TV doing American Gladiator or Mortal Kombat?
Yeah. So that's really cool you said that, because in the ESPN video, my pastor's actually in that documentary. They came and filmed me doing like a little Christian ministry thing I did, and my pastor showed up. So he's 100% into that, man. He was really stoked to, have me in his church. He's a wrestling fan and stuff. So that was really cool. My other church, when I was in Hollywood, was the First Presbyterian Church in Bel Air. Anyways, the bottom line was that I got a little pushback from people thinking that martial arts is, that's dark, it's of the devil. And I explained to them that martial arts had nothing to do with anything demonic. It was just a form of, working out, another art form, another sport, like everything else. So sometimes churches have a tendency to make a stigma of things, and they don't really realize what they're talking about. So they just need education. So I shared with a lot of people like that. And once I told them, they're like so happy, because again, guys, listen, as a man of faith, it's an opportunity for me to minister. It's just an opportunity to love on people, and I don't mean I'm going around, preaching at them. I'm just going loving people, and that's it. That's what matters to me, is lifting them up, giving them encouragement, and sending them off happier than they were when they came to see me. And that's the way I live my life.
So have you ever found yourself or had a moment where you're inadvertently, like, you could, like, again, it could be American Gladiator or any movie set like Batman, anything like that, like inadvertently leading them to prayer or having Bible study, anything like that? Has anything like that ever occurred during your career in Hollywood?
Oh yeah, lots. I mean, it's happened lots of times. I mean, there was one, I was doing an opera. Of all things, I worked on an opera, if you can believe this. I was a background guy, and we're doing a Western scene, but one of the guys that was one of the singers in the background was really broken, and he came up to me and he was talking to me about the fact that his family was Catholic and that he was gay, and he says, well, does God love me? My family says God doesn't love me. I said, Root, your family's wrong, man. I said, God loves you. I said, we're all sinners. We all live ways that aren't pleasing to God. We're not perfect. I said, so what you need to do is find the Lord and let him love you, and he will do whatever changes need to happen inside yourself, just like he did for me. He'll do it for you. But never, never, never think that God doesn't love you. He loves every single person on this planet. He may not like some of the things we do when we sin, okay? But he loves us as people. So I've said that many, many times to people. But this kid, it's like his life changed then, because he realized he had hope again. It's like his parents took all the hope away from him, which is terrible.
It is. How have your outreach and you being a minister impacted your fellow brothers and sisters being on TV with the American Gladiators?
Okay, say that again. I'm sorry.
How have your outreach, you being a minister, impacted your fellow brethren and sisters in American Gladiators?
Oh yeah, it's kind of a mixed bucket, because some of them believe and some of them don't. So I mean, there's always going to be that, kind of a light darkness kind of a thing. But the reality is, I'm great friends with Diamond. I mean, if you guys can get Diamond on here, Erica is fantastic. She's a classy lady. She's a super gladiator, and she'd be great on your show. Sure. She and I talk all the time. And Storm is another great gal. So yeah, I stay close with those two gals, and then the rest, we all love each other. We're all part of the same.
Yeah, of course.
I have nothing negative to say about anybody. It's just, one of those things where, certain people just don't believe like I believe, and that's their choice. They follow the system or whatever that may be. But I just, like I said, I try and put my love out there with everybody.
Are you a fan of the theme song?
Yeah, I think it's great. Now, you talking about American Gladiators or
American Gladiators? American Gladiators.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's powerful. I think it's driving. It gets your pulse up. To me, I like it. What do you think? Do you like it, or you think it could
Well, I
be better?
loved it.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
definitely
I think
nostalgic.
it's great.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I do distinctly remember whenever it was time for us to like play football or something like that. That was one of the things that we put on to get in the mood. Like, all right, time to crush some people's feelings. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. Exactly.
Now,
Exactly.
gotta
Yeah.
ask you, somebody we met and I had the privilege to talk to a few years ago, Mike Adamley, who was
Yes.
a commentator for you guys, WWE. Got to meet him in 2018 at the
Right.
Congressional Congress meeting with the concussions with Kristen Nowinski and WWE and NFL stars. Definitely a good guy. What was your thoughts of him? Him, Joe Theismann. What was the guy with the mustache and the curly hair? The other guy.
Zonka? Larry
Zonka.
Zonka?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Zonka. What was your
Yeah.
thoughts of them as commentators?
Yeah. 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 Well, it's funny. Okay, so I'll tell you funny story about Joe Theismann. So Joe Theismann, obviously one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. He was also a racquetball player, and he thought he was a great racquetball player. And the Gladiators knew that I actually played professional racquetball. But so Joe challenged me to a game, thinking he was going to just put me away and laugh about it, and I destroyed him. He got so mad, he broke a racket. He was screaming and yelling. But that's just how competitive he is, you know. He was
Yes.
just really shocked that this huge guy was just destroying him on the court. So that was my funny story about Joe Theismann. But Mike Adamle, just a super classy guy. He needs your prayers because he's got his bell rung so many times
Yes.
that he's suffering with that dementia situation that a lot of pro footballs players have to deal with. So he can
Yes.
definitely need your guys' prayers.
Yes. I got to meet him and his wife, and
Yes.
you could tell, great guy, but you could tell easily just
Yeah.
the wear and tear of the years, and he even
Yeah.
mentioned it where it was
Yeah.
just certain things where he would forget or just kind of um dealing with. So definitely prayers to him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides,
Definitely. He's a great guy.
he is. What game did you love? Everyone hated Human Cannonball. Nitro said it. Everyone hate. No one liked Human Cannonball. What
No.
game did you love? Did Malibu love to play?
Okay, so the wall, I was undefeated on the wall. That was fun. And also the tennis ball game was fun. I was really good at that. And I actually like Powerball quite a bit. I love the action of tackling people and stuff. I mean, you got hurt pretty bad doing it, but it's a lot of fun. So those are my three tops.
Go ahead, XO.
So I do remember that you was undefeated on it, and it was like at one point, I can't remember what episode, but of course you won. And my brother was like, "Yo, I bet you I could beat Malibu." I was like, "Yeah, nope, 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 can't do it, dog, can't do it." I don't think so. Like, this man is literally undefeated. Like, yo, every time we see him about to jump up on here, he never win. I was like, if they can't do it, you can't either. Sorry. I love you. You said, "Y'all bet you I could beat him." Like, no, I don't think so. Um, good times, good times. Music. What are you currently listening to right now?
What kind of music?
Besides
Yes.
gospel.
Besides
So,
gospel, what are you currently listening to right now?
what kind of music? Is that what you said?
Yes.
Yeah, simple, man. I mean, I'm an '80s rock guy, '70s rock, and R&B. I love groups like Earth, Wind and Fire, or the Ohio Players,
Yes.
all
Oh
those
man, black music.
funkadelic, all that stuff, man, is my
Yeah,
absolute
Malibu.
favorite, without a doubt. Yeah,
Malibu coming to the cookout. That's what's
Yeah,
up.
you can hang out with us
yeah,
at the
man.
cookout,
Oh
man.
yeah,
We'll run
no
up
doubt,
black
man.
music.
Malibu
Bring you
Yeah.
out
coming
to
to the
your
cookout.
maze,
There
the
it
band
is. Yes,
drop, man.
sir.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
true, man.
Yeah.
Listen. I hate to sound like a cliche, but I'm going to tell you the honest truth. My best friend in high school, named Eric, he became a police officer when I became a deputy sheriff, also. But he was a black guy, and I used to hang out with him and his whole family. And so I would end up going to cookouts or dances where I was the only white guy anywhere near in the vicinity. And his brother was like this big tough guy, so he always protected me and stuff. But I had the greatest time with those guys and fell in love with the music. So nothing's ever changed. It's like got burned into my soul. So every time I hear that R&B stuff, I just start moving and grooving, man. It's awesome.
I like that. Now you talk about moving and grooving. Can you still dance? You were on Married with Children,
Yes.
Oh man, it's
dancing for
great.
Peg
That's
Bundy,
awesome.
Peggy Bundy on her birthday with
Yes,
what,
yes, yes.
What was her name? Was
Yeah.
it Marcy? Was that her name? Marcy, the
Marcy
neighbor.
Darcy.
Marcy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was fun, guys. That was actually my very first acting job. And the way I got that, believe it or not, I was a personal trainer at the time, and I happened to be training the wife of an executive producer on Married with Children. And she asked me, "Do you ever want to be an actor?" I said, "Well, that's funny. That's exactly what I'm trying to do." And she goes, "I got a job for you." And so the next thing you know, I booked my very first job on Married with Children, and they were so cool to me. They were really, really good. I was so nervous when I did that. It was crazy, but I had a blast. Had so much fun.
That's great. Now, you went from being a stripper cop for Peg Bundy, who younger fans know more as Sons of Anarchy. What's her name? XO. Jax Teller's mom. Sons of Anarchy. Great show. You can look her up. The wife of Sutter. Last name was Sutter, who wrote for Sons of Anarchy, The Mayans, and The Shield. Kurt Sutter.
Yeah. I'm kind of drawing a blank. I've done so many motorcycle guy things, you know. And you know what? That one doesn't really ring a bell with me. You gotta. I'm just drawing a blank for some reason, guys. I'm sorry, but I mean, I've done a bunch of different biker stuff. I did a bunch of different biking stuff, so I'm just kind of lost in it. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. It just Peg Bundy went on. We know her as Peg Bundy. Also, later on is Sons of Anarchy, being Jax Teller's wife. She played.
Oh, of course. Yes. Of course. Sorry about that. I misheard you. Like I said, so it's my hearing issue.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. She was fantastic in that, and totally classy lady. Super classy lady.
Yes, Jax Teller's mom. I'm sorry. She was playing Ron Perlman's wife. Well, Ron Perlman ended up playing Hellboy. Right. And then, from what we know, you also was in Elvira.
Yes.
Mistress of the Dark. So tell us about that.
Get all this stuff from. That's funny.
Yes. Tell us about that.
You talk about a sexy woman. Oh my gosh. In person. Wow. I mean, just sex. He's like rolling off that girl, man. It's crazy. And she was the nicest person in the world. I think that's what made her so sexy, was that she wasn't stuck up at all. She was the sweetest person that you could ever meet. And so to me, I just like fell in love with this girl right off the bat. And yeah, that was funny. I mean, oh my gosh. Okay, you got like 2 minutes for me to tell you a funny story about that?
Yeah, it's all you, man. You in charge. Go ahead.
Okay. So true story. There's a call that went out that they were looking for exotic dancers for this movie Elvira. And so I'm thinking, I used to work at Chippendales. I'm an exotic dancer. I'll go try out. Well, there was like 150 people there. But the dancers were all professional. I mean, guys that were doing double ballet twists and flips and cartwheels. And so they choreographed a little scene, and all these guys are doing it perfect. And they're going right, I'm going left, they're going up, I'm going down. I'm making a complete jackass out of myself. I was by far the worst guy there. They cut half of the guys and left me. And I'm going, how did they miss that? I'm huge. So maybe they just didn't see me. So they do it again. They choreograph. I'm even worse. And they cut down to 25, and I'm still there. And I'm thinking, okay, they're just laughing at me. They're doing this for their own personal joke because I stink so bad. They cut down to 5 people, and I'm still there. And they pull me aside and say, "Thank you, Deron." And I'm laughing. Oh, you guys had a really good time laughing at me, didn't you? And they were howling. Well, next thing I know, I booked that job. So they told me, I said, why did you hire me? And they said, well, because you were having so much fun and you were laughing at yourself because you knew you stunk. You knew you were terrible. And they said, we just loved you for that. And so there it is. That's how I booked that job.
Wow.
Nice.
Yes. So you know what I'm going to say. You got to say your line. Look. The Malibu been smiling ear to ear. Said Elvira was sexy. And this is the perfect time for you to say that. So you already know.
Porn ready?
Yes, she was.
You see that classic line?
Was she porn ready?
Yes, she had to be.
That one when I got me, I was talking about getting hit by the most excellent hit of my life. And next thing I knew, I'm at the beach with 2 beautiful babes, one handsome brewski in the other, and getting healed by Mother Nature.
Yes.
I like that. Let's mention this. Is we're going to do one word association. We're gonna mention some names and some things, Malibu. We want you to tell us your first word that comes to mind.
Oh boy. Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
California.
Beach.
Nitro.
Malibu.
Laser.
Malibu.
You see how this going? Gemini.
Right.
Two scoops.
Uh, we said Joe Theismann, but I'm gonna say Joust.
Painful.
Human Cannonball.
More painful. Nightmare.
Being a father.
Awesome.
Sting.
Amazing. Life changing. I couldn't just say one word about that.
And that's why we did the segue. So let's lead it to you and shout out to you, good buddy of ours, Chris Landis, who wrote the WMAC Masters book, a good friend of ours who's been on the show. And I talked to him. He told me you spoke to him as well. And with us doing our thorough research and through us having connections, we were told you were friends with Sting, WWE Hall of Famer, TNA Hall of Famer, current wrestler. He's 64, still wrestling for AEW, who we all have met. Great guy. Tell us first your relationship with Sting, Steve Borden. Also, too, your thoughts on him being 64 and still wrestling.
Yeah.
Jumping off the ladder and land on somebody. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something about Steve. He's one of the most humble guys you will ever meet in your life. I mean, truly so humble, it would blow you away. And he's got a beautiful heart. He loves God. He loves his family. And, he's an icon. You think someone like that would be, stuck up or arrogant. He's not a bit. He absolutely is just filled with faith. He loves his craft. He loves his business. I mean, he called me and checked up on me because I went away for a couple months and he didn't hear from me. He goes, Deron, how you doing? I didn't hear from you. And I mean, this is the kind of relationship we have. So he's just a super nice guy. The way we met is that I stunt doubled for him for a PlayStation commercial where supposedly Goldberg picked me up and threw me through a storefront window. And so I wore Sting's outfit and all that regalia. And so we got to meet and then became really good friends after that.
Was that the WCW Mayhem video game?
I'm sure you can find it somewhere. It's
I remember that. PlayStation, I remember that. That was you being thrown through the. I remember that.
If you find it, guys, let me know. I've never seen it. So I've actually never seen a commercial myself, but it turned out really, really good. I also stunt double Triple H. I did a horse fall for him for a WrestleMania about, years ago. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we met Paul and Trips, great guy. When we met Make Itemly in Boston, and funny story with Triple H. We met him. He good guy. He first thing he did, introduce himself, complimented me on my tie, said I liked his tie, and the story with Bob Costas slapping Vince McMahon getting mad at him years ago doing a famous interview. So at the banquet, I have a picture I can text you. Triple H press slant picks up Bob Costas while he's calling Vince for apology.
Really?
Mike Adamle was there. A whole bunch of people. Was great, but Triple H was a good guy. Bob Costas didn't know he was that short because on TV he looked like he not tall, but not average. But I didn't know he was that short. But
right.
Triple H definitely a good guy, but he definitely told Bob Costas, "I'm getting one back from my father-in-law since you made him mad." Joking around, he body pressed him up in the camera, took pictures and sold the pictures, which is cool.
No, that's a good story, man. A great story.
You being a father, your daughter Kaylee, which has been documented. How has being a father changed your life, and how is Malibu? Well, not gonna say Malibu. How are you now as a man compared to when we saw you on TV as Malibu?
Yeah, that's a good question, guys. So I've got two daughters. I have one named Ashley and one like Kylie. The one you saw was Kylie, and they're amazing. Back in 2003, when my career was like skyrocketing, I was married to this beautiful woman named Deron, and she's actually she's in. I think she is. She's in the ESPN documentary. So if you haven't seen it, you can find her on that documentary. But And at any rate, 2003, she had a complication from a surgery she had and had a blood clot that got caught in her lung, and she passed away at 35 years old from a
Oh
massive
man,
heart.
condolences,
So
brother.
suddenly, I was left without a wife and two daughters, and my daughters at that time were 6 and 3. So I had a very serious decision to make, and it was like, do I want to continue on with my career and be Mr. Actor and be successful and all that stuff and make tons of money, but then have my girls be raised by a nanny and not only have their mom gone, but their dad gone most of the time? And or am I going to step out and let my faith talk for me? And so to me, it was a no-brainer. It was like, I'm going to step back on the acting and step back on stuff and be a father to them. So I really cut my career back quite a bit in around 2005 and started spending time raising my daughters, being a full-time Mr. Mom and being there for them, and then booking little jobs here and there, just so I could sustain us and keep us afloat. But I'm telling you, it was the greatest experience of my life. I didn't complain, and I would never complain about changing one diaper. I loved every minute of it. Those girls taught me so much growing up. They taught me more about being a man than I could have ever learned from any book, any seminar, anything else about being a father. I mean, it was just an incredible experience. And so, as bad as it was, and I hate losing my wife, but God blessed me with two beautiful children, and He grew me up a lot, man. God humbled me so much through those girls, I can't even tell you. So to me, it was a wonderful experience.
Yes, thank you, brother, for being detailed with that, and rest in peace to your late great wife. To um, big ups to your daughters, Ashley and Kaylee.
Thank you.
No, Kaylee's been out front.
Yeah,
She wasn't too happy about how you was treated, man. I'm gonna
yeah,
turn this over to EXO after this.
yeah.
She's been vocal. Is she still feeling the same way, or?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. She's a sharp one too. You know, it's interesting that she's seen Dad get hurt so many times, and now she just graduated from physical therapy school. So she thinks, you know what? I seen Dad get beat up so much. I want to start helping other people. So there's something to be said for that, you know. But I'm so proud of her. She's just a sweet, sweet girl. Both my girls are wonderful.
Yeah. Now, what about Ashley? Is Ashley, is she feeling the same way as her sister, where didn't like how you were treated, or she just more so like, what was Dad? Dad's here. Dad's happy. We're happy. I'm okay.
Yeah, yeah. Ashley wasn't happy about it either. See, now Ashley's kind of girl that I'd be a little afraid to put on camera because she might say a few things that would be not be bleeped out. Let's put it that way.
That's our
Uh,
kind of girl. That's how we like.
she's a little more forthcoming with her verbiage, you know. So I love her, and you know, she's just gotten to be tougher because she was older when her mom passed away, so that
I
impacted
see.
her a little bit more deeply.
I see.
But she's very forthright with her opinion. She's given me my third grandchild, which is just precious. I just had a grandchild 3 months ago, and
Congratulations.
it's a beautiful thing, man. I love it. It's like being able to be a dad again.
The great Malibu is a granddad, y'all. Grandpappy Malibu. You know what? I'm gonna text you that as the joke. Say Grandpappy Malibu. Still smiling and everything. That's great, man. Three wonderful grandkids. Congratulations to Ashley and to Kaylee. You can tell Ashley how we are. She can come on our show anytime. This is how we are. Tell us how you feel. We got you. Just be who you are. Go ahead, XO. Before we let her go.
So what is the typical day in the life of Deron McBee?
Well, it's changed quite a bit. So now, one of the things I'm doing besides doing motivational speaking and in churches and things like that is I'm also a certified drug and alcohol counselor. So I actually live in what's called a sober living house, and I manage this house. And there's about 8 to 10 guys here that are all recovering addicts and alcoholics, and I'm just here to be there, come alongside of them, be their friend, supervise, you know, and just kind of help out whenever I can. Of course, if people are using, they can't stay in the house, and that's the tough part. I have to ask people to leave. But I've been able to help a lot of people and counseling a lot of moms who are hurting over their sons. So it's been an amazing ministry for me, and I've been doing this now for about 5 years. So it's something I really, really enjoy. I don't think I'll be doing it a whole bunch longer because I'm getting ready to go out and start working a lot more again, doing speaking engagements. But it's a wonderful experience for me right now.
Good, good, good. I have one more question.
Sure.
What character historical character in the Bible do you identify as?
Wow. Okay, I know David for one, but John too. It's like you answer a question that, I mean, that's a question that I think about all the time. It really is. It's a great question. David, because he's a warrior, but also because he made some big stupid mistakes, and I've made big stupid mistakes in my life, and thank God he's forgiving. John, just because John is the apostle, they said that God, Jesus loved. Of course, Jesus loved everybody, but John was just a really passionate, loving guy. So I identify with those two guys the most, for sure.
Amen. Amen. Good answers. Good
Now,
answers.
I gotta be detailed, Malibu, because I'm gonna tell you something you didn't know about myself. I mean, that's what I'm gonna say. As you know, I grew up around a Christian household. My late great mother just last week passed away 6 years. Took care of her last 5 years of her life being a minister. My grandfather, chairman of the Deacon Board, grew up in church. Know
Wow.
about the Bible, the Bible. That's the book for me. Basic
Amen.
instructions before leaving Earth, all of that, right? Now
Wow.
you mentioned John. Are you talking about John the Revelator? Are you talking about John the Baptist? You know I gotta pick with you, man. This is detail. And just to ask you this too, what one is your favorite scripture? And two, what book of the Bible do you go to in your darkest times?
Wow. These are great questions, man. Great question. So Psalms is probably the one I would go to in some of my toughest times. I go through the Psalms. Psalms 37, Psalm 40 are two of my favorite go-to. Psalm 90. There's so many of them. I love Psalm 119 because it's just one long praise to God and talks about, Davis is talking about how much he wants to serve God and follow God and things. So those are them. Probably the most I like the Psalms. And when you talk about John, well, John, he wrote John and he wrote Revelation, so it's the same John who wrote both. So as far as I'm concerned, it's interesting you say that. I kind of resonate with John, who wrote the Gospel of John. I couldn't even imagine being taken to heaven and seeing the things he saw and witnessed what he saw, that the Lord showed him. So to me, of course, man, what an amazing privilege. God was showing us that kind of amazing stuff, But that's a great question. I just think it's the love that he had for people and the love he had for Christ that it really resonates with who I am.
And something I realized is that growing up with, in just one of the few times we talk about Christianity or religion, so we have, as yourself, we have friends that different religions, that are Muslim, that are Catholic, that are Buddhist, that are Hindu, that believe in different things, and atheists and agnostics and all walks of life. We still love and talk about it. Falls on the Christian topic. One thing I've learned too is when you're around a group of people, Jesus had 12 disciples. 12. We knew Judas was the betrayer. We knew that. Jesus told disciples twice who Judas was going to be, and they still ain't even believe, pay attention.
Right.
When times got hard, out of the 12, still going to include Judas, Jesus only took a third. When it got down to it, it was Peter, James, and John.
Yeah.
We don't know where Bartholomew was at. We just heard his name. What did he do? We don't know he was there. And some of the other disciples. But when Jesus went to the garden and the other stuff, Peter, James, and John. So you mentioned John is very significant. Because Jesus was on the cross. The only people that was there at the cross was John, Mary Magdalene.
Yep.
That was it.
Yep. And the amazing thing was that when Jesus was on the cross, he went through all that. I mean, I've read what a scourge, what it's like to be flogged. It's the most horrific thing. If you've ever read what that is like, it would blow your mind what they did when they flogged someone 39 times. But he looked, in all that pain, he looked down to John and he said, "Woman, behold your son. Son, behold your woman, your mother." And he just totally, at that moment, said, "John, take care of my mother when I'm gone." I mean, how amazing is that? How incredible is that, to think a man is suffering, about ready to die, was not thinking about himself or feeling sorry for himself, but thinking about the people he loves right to the end. That's so awesome to me.
That's amazing. And no matter how it was, we knew Judas was the betrayer, and he still forgave Judas. which is why he gave back the shekels of silver, and we know he committed suicide, which still to this earth, and I have friends that's been to Israel, been to Jerusalem, and the word of God is still true. That says nothing has grew on his land since. But right where Jesus Iscariot committed suicide, nothing has grown there, it's still burned. We knew
Right.
Thomas was a doubter. We know
Yep.
that. Jesus still loved him. And we knew Peter Custer was bad.
Yeah.
He had a temper. He was like, look, I'm gonna cuss 3 times, reach the crow. All right, Lord, I'm sorry. Still did it. Still loved it. So that's a testament to what you just said. No matter what, the thing is when we have people close to us, when times get hard, we only can rely on certain people. And we talking with Jesus, the ultimate GOAT. You hear the word GOAT so much with sports, Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Michael Jordan. Shut your mouth. Jesus being the GOAT only with the three.
Right.
And we don't
That's
know
right.
what we don't know what the other nine did. And I always joke and say, what the hell did Bartholomew do when the other ones? But
Right. Right. Right.
Jesus came to them, and that's a testament, as you said, with your life, with your daughters, excuse me, with Sting, with a few, we saw your video with Storm, which was very touching. How close you are with her, with Diamond. Times get tough. There's only a few people you can really rely on that you get to. You say, look,
Thank you, man. Yeah.
I need you, and that's a big testament. We love that. Or in the other circle, when it comes to TV and movies, Malibu loves Elvira. You know what I'm saying? Love
That's what's
that.
up.
So
Nothing wrong with that.
real quick before we let you go, Malibu, you got to talk to us about one. You picking up Vic's dad. I was sent this video. I don't know who Vic is, but it's a short on YouTube that you picked up Vic's dad. You picked him up for something. I guess it was a joke. Talk to us about
Oh
that.
yeah.
You know
Yeah.
that? And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, tell
Yeah.
us about that.
So yeah, I was doing that. The guy Ben who did the ESPN documentary, the director invited me to do this TV show with his comedy friend Tim. I think his name was Kellerman, pretty famous guy. Anyways, I went on there and they were saying to me, this one of the co-hosts of that show brought his dad that day, and he said, "Would you do something like embarrass the dad, like pick him up and throw him on your shoulders?" And I said, "Sure, I'd be happy to." And I made sure it was okay with the guy because I don't want to have him pee his pants because he doesn't know what's happening. So, I talked to him a little ahead of time. I said, "Listen, this is going to happen. I'm going to come over. I'm going to pretend I punch you in the stomach and I'll throw you on my shoulders and carry you out." And he was a great sport, man. And he loved it. It turned out to be a real good gag. Everybody laughed. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure if you saw that, but I definitely was sad and saw it with that. Shout out to my cousin D Dizzle. She said she loved you. I think I texted you that when I told her you was coming on the show. Definitely a fan. You with the documentaries, Netflix did Muscle and Mayhem limited
Mhm.
series. ESPN did the 30 for 30. And
Right.
with you being our first inaugural American Gladiator of many, because that's we told you off air we have others coming. You being first to say this, what honestly was your favorite? Which one do you feel really is even rated the true American Gladiator story? Not only just the American Gladiators, but for yourself, the 30 for 30 or the Netflix documentary?
Good question. I thought they were both well done. I thought they were both excellent. I'm partial to the ESPN one because it told kind of the backstory of some of the stuff that was going on behind the scenes a little bit. I think more in detail than the other one did, but and I think also because I had a chance to share my personal testimony a little bit better in the ESPN one. But I think both were done really, really well. I think Dan was kind of the spearhead behind that Netflix documentary, and I think he did a fantastic job. He asked me if I wanted to be a part of that, and unfortunately I had to decline because I already took the ESPN one. But he did a great job, and I think both of them were great, but I just have to go with the ESPN one. I think it was just a little bit more interesting.
Now, when you mentioned Dan, just to not assume Dan, you mentioned Nitro.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, right,
Nitro. Now,
right,
just
right.
for the fans that may not know, Dan is
Right.
Nitro.
Thank you.
No
Yeah,
problem. And good, great guy. I spoke to him. That's how you and I got in touch, and I got in touch with Laser and Tower coming up soon. Of
great guys. Yeah.
busy guy, but super great, super humble. We all had the toys. I don't know if Exo did, but I had the toy. You, Nitro. I don't know why your hands was always locked like this. Remember that? in
Yeah.
that same pose. Like, you can't even move, no articulation. And then had the little joust game there, them little small helmets could fit.
Yo,
Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
get
Yeah.
on head. Come on, let's go.
Oh man, let's go
Love it.
back.
Yes. do, do, do
Get
you
on.
do you still have any of the merchant? I know you have the jacket, but do you still have any of the merchandise, the video game, the toys, figures, the jackets, any of your gear? Do you still have that?
I have a cup. Actually a coffee mug and a T-shirt with kind of a Malibu likeness on it, but that's it. I mean, I think that was like an aftermarket thing. But as far as anything from the original, no, I didn't keep any of it with me.
Well, well, before we let you go, we'll let XO close it out. Before we have you go ahead and do the plug party, go ahead, XO.
So, as you know, and everybody else know, there's been multiple seasons of American Gladiators. There's been multiple iterations. Even now, there's a modern one, this current one going on. They have it on. You go to the Facebook page, you see all the newer kids. Has any of the execs that have taken over reached out to you and asked, can you mentor some of the newer generation?
Oh yeah, it's a really good question. I think not personally. I think a lot of what the networks are doing is they're trying to completely separate the old cast from each other so there's no overlap, which I think is a mistake because we would have a lot to offer these young guys that are coming in. But I think that has a lot to do with whatever the producers and directors are from the new show. Is for some reason they've always wanted to keep us separated from each other. So I haven't. I would, of course, if someone asked me, but not so far.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, the floor is now yours. You go ahead and do the plug party, plug in any charities, anything you might be going on, future projects, anything like that. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anybody who's out there that's suffering with any kind of drug addiction, any kind of alcohol addiction, or knows somebody that's struggling, please contact me. Just get a hold of me on my Facebook account, friend me, and I'll be happy to give you my personal phone number and talk to you, whoever's suffering. I can get you locked into the kind of help you need, whatever assistance you need. I can get you in hospitalization programs, drug rehab, sober living, whatever it is you need to get over the hump because it's possible. I went through it myself. I was horribly addicted to opiates after being injured time and time and time again. And by the grace of God, I'm sober and clean. I haven't touched an opiate or drug in 5 years now. And it's an amazing feeling. So that's one thing. I'm also involved in ministry work where I'll be independently going again. You'll see if you Facebook friend me, you'll see I'm ministry engagement. So I'll be traveling all of the United States speaking and sharing my faith in churches and in schools.
That's amazing, man. And uh, I gotta mention this real quick before we go. Something that really touched us is you mentioned about you being in South Africa for 8 weeks doing
Yes.
a retreat,
Yeah.
and we know your passion not only with you being a loving dad and being an American gladiator and helping people, but definitely your passion about the gospel of Jesus Christ and about ministering and helping. We can't let you go without you talking about something dear to your heart about first the no men left behind, and also you being in South Africa for 8 weeks before we let you go.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. South Africa, in everybody's life, they have this thing where they say, I would do anything, God, but just go to this place. And I remember saying, God, I'll go anywhere, but I didn't want to go to Africa, right? I just didn't look at Africa for whatever reason. And of course, where do I go for 8 weeks? I go to Africa.
Go to Jonah.
It was the greatest ministry experience of my life. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, my heart was changed by seeing how these people who really had next to nothing, they had the greatest hearts of worship and greatest hearts of thanksgiving. I mean, we're so spoiled in the United States. We don't even realize how good we have it a lot of times. And that's not everybody, but that's a lot of us that we just don't realize what a blessing we have to go and turn on a faucet and we get running water or hot water, or to be able to even flush a toilet. They don't have a lot of that there, So when you see these people and they're so hungry to hear the word of God, they're so thirsty to be, filled with the Holy Spirit, and they just, when it comes to, say, offerings, they have no money to give, but you know what they were sending in their offering plate? They were sending their rings and their watches, and things of personal value to them to just say how much they wanted to serve and give. And to me, that was so humbling to me. It just blew me away. So to me, one of the greatest experiences of my life was being in South Africa and being able to minister. But again, I was more ministered to by them than they were by me, I'm sure.
Wow, that's amazing for you to say that, Malibu. Darren, I'm sorry, not even Malibu. This is you personally. This is
That's
not even
okay.
Malibu, but it's still you, Darren, just doing your work of the Lord, which we love and thank you. And we all have those Jonah moments. And then the
Yes.
Lord bring us a
Yes.
big fish. They say a whale, so the big fish. All right, look, you gotta say, shut your mouth as we say, and then all right, y'all, go here. You don't want to go here. I'm gonna tell you, you ain't got no. Well, we have a choice.
That's right. That's
You
right.
go,
That's a
and
good
then
word, man.
things
That's a really
change.
good word.
And you said, look, I ain't going to South Africa. You went. Jonah said, I don't want to talk to my own people, and he went. Paul said, I'm not going to cuss, and he cussed 3 times and still fulfilled the prophecy. And then he ended up coming on back.
There it is.
The Apostle Paul did all he did and needed whatever it was to buffer his flesh, dealing with all he dealt with in the dungeon, but he
That's a
still
good
made it
word,
through.
man.
And
Yeah.
being a travail, doing everything you've done, being a missionary as you do, the other great men and women of the Lord and of the works of TV, still made it through. You went through Elvira, you went through that, you danced
Yeah.
for Peg Bundy, American Gladiators, you got knocked off, 2 broken thumbs, a torn bicep, your knee went up and knocked you off your foot, lacerated you, played a character which everyone believed with you but wasn't, which was a good facade, as you said. 8 weeks in South Africa. God had to send the big whale to get you for you to go to Africa.
Hey,
Being a man who survived being a great husband, rest in peace to your late great wife.
thank
Still was
you.
a single dad of 2 fathers. Survived Mortal Kombat, which no one liked the movie at first, but you still was known as Mortaro, had the pace with
Amen.
being a good missionary of Storm, which I know definitely her story, and she definitely lit up for you. No Men Left Behind, doing
Amen.
stuff with Triple H, being a stunt double for Sting, surviving through the human cannonball of life and on TV, giving one word associations for 4 American Gladiators by saying your name, as we said, Malibu, or what have you, being a certified alcohol and drug counselor that helps people out. About to go back in your ministry, having a daughter named Ashley that will give you a rougher verbiage than you,
Yes.
and having your daughter Kaylee that will give her opinion more so political and more so nicer than Ashley.
Without a doubt.
Everything you done, brother, has been amazing. I'm sure so many more things that you've done. We appreciate you, man. Thank you for your time. You got EXO on TV, on screen without a mask, because we see his actual face. He normally wears a mask. So you special, Malibu. You get to see his face, get to
Yeah,
see
for
his
real.
skin.
He's actually not lying. He's not lying. No, this is
Well, listen,
right.
guys, thank you both so much. You guys are so gracious, man, and
Man, thank
I
you.
just
Thank you.
ask you to keep your faith strong and keep doing what you guys are doing because everything you do is a ministry too. Just remember that it's all a ministry. So you guys are
Yeah,
serving and blessing God with just your daily lives. So thank you so much.
thank
Thank
you.
you,
Thank you.
Darren. Thank you much for your time.
Yeah,
You and I, we
appreciate
have each other personal selves. We'll definitely be in touch. Thank you much. This episode, Fundamental Radio, will be uploaded very soon on YouTube and on social media platforms. Shout out to the absent Queen, to Toph, to Saltine, to Ella Salt, everybody else. Love y'all. Thank you very much.